Europe is a continent that is known to be successful due to the economic industry and trade. The people that were able to shape Europe are people such as Queen Elizabeth II, Louis XIV, and Joseph Stalin. These leaders had a positive and negative impact towards different groups of people throughout Europe. Today, I'm going to talk about Charles Darwin, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and Leon Trotsky by explaining their impact, what they did to claim power, and how they were able to create their legacy. Charles Darwin is an important figure in today's society because he was able to prove if humans are a product of evolution or gods. He went against traditional Christian beliefs and related science to his surroundings. His theory was that humans originally evolved from apes and God did not create them. Darwin did not originally go to Africa to prove how humans were formed. He went to Africa to study birds in the Galapagos Islands. When he was still in Africa, he began to question whether or not humans evolved from apes. He studied apes because he wanted people such as Herbert Spencer, who used his ideas to believe that humans come from a different form, which would be God. He was also the person that said humans need basic necessities to survive, which are food and water. Charles Darwin changed the way people thought about mankind because Christians believed that Jesus created the way humans behaved, but Darwin was able to prove that humans were originally evolved by apes. He did this by collecting samples of apes when he was still in Africa. Later on, he published his own book related to the evidence he took of the apes. Since then, Charles Darwin was able to prove how humans originally evolved from apes and the way they behaved and survived was based on genetics. He was able to accomplish the fact that animal survival and nature can be linked to mankind's behavior in various ways. Due to Darwin's thoughts, he was able to change the way people think of themselves whenever it comes to how they evolved or originated. Physicists such as William Harvey and Carl Linnaeus were inspired by Darwin's ideas because they were able to establish how humans and animals function in other ways, such as how blood travels around the human body and how people are able to identify plants or organisms. This shows that science is expanding due to Darwin influencing people on his thoughts and knowledge related to his study in science. It also shows that science understanding will improve over time and people will understand more about how living things originated and can be used in human use. Darwin's areas of impact are science and zoology because he is able to determine the aspects of science in order to relate to humans and animals around the world. Charles Darwin made one of the best theories, which is how humans came into existence and if the help of Jesus is true or not true. He was successful in the end, and due to him succeeding, other scientists around the world started studying other animals on how they came to life, what they needed to survive, how they grew, and how long does it take to grow into the full size of that specific animal. If scientists started to study how animals behave and act, they could change the way how organisms other than humans act and behave around different areas, climates, and atmospheres around the world. They could also find out if these animals could affect the lives of humans in a positive or negative way. I believe that Charles Darwin was able to shape history because he discovered the basis of evolution, how humans and living organisms are able to behave and act in different ways. People are now able to determine how humans and organisms are able to adapt to the ways of their life, such as what they need to survive, what they need to stay warm, what fluids they should drink, what foods to eat, and what other necessities they need in their life, such as emergency tools or medicine for their well-being. Charles Darwin also stated that humans and organisms have different skin colors, and their skin color is determined by the different geographic locations or the time it takes in order for the color of skin to adapt to the geographic weather locations. We can learn from these results in order to understand the history of life and what it takes to improve the way humans live. Now that we covered Charles Darwin, I'm going to talk about Kaiser Wilhelm II. Kaiser Wilhelm II is considered one of the most ruthless emperors of all time due to his brutality and the ability to be aggressive towards people in order to get what he wants. Kaiser Wilhelm II was able to do a lot for his country Prussia, such as ending the reinsurance treaty so that he could stop the diplomatic life of St. Petersburg. He also teamed up with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, which was Otto von Bismarck, so that he could expand into other countries such as Morocco because he wants to gain more power, and he also wants to gain water advantages because Morocco is on the waterway. Although Wilhelm was an immature person, he was still able to succeed in the end because the people of Prussia were big supporters of him and they wanted him to win for their country. Kaiser Wilhelm II was able to accomplish many things in life which made his people proud, such as expanding more land for his own benefits, teaming up with a successful minister Otto von Bismarck, and by being ruthless to any person that tried to take his power. Wilhelm showed people all over the world that you have to be ruthless in order to get what you want. During the imperialism era, he showed ruthlessness by forcing Morocco not to join forces with Austria when a war had already broken out. He did this because he knew that Austria was going to attack them. He wanted Morocco to be on Prussia's side instead of Morocco being against them. Wilhelm made his country Prussia proud during these times, although eventually Hitler managed to take over their independence with Nazism. The areas of impact where he was able to show success were government and politics, because he convinced Prussia and the rest of Europe that he could make good decisions related to his country, that he is able to resolve conflicts, and that he is always able to bring positive results back to his country. Due to all of this, he also showed a glimpse of the world, what it takes to be emperor, what tasks or situations they have to deal with during the years they war won. Since Wilhelm showed his ruthlessness by torturing and forcing people in order to get his way, we have learned that it's not what a person in power should be allowed to do in order to get what he or she wants. The person that has morals should be able to problem solve by using the words in a well-mannered way. People eventually understood this advice, and that led them into good recognition because people admired them because they ruled from respect instead of fear due to not hurting people. Kaiser Wilhelm II was shaping history for many reasons. One of the main reasons why he was shaped is because of the sacrifices, deals, and impacts he chose to do for his country, Prussia. He was also able to convince other countries, such as Morocco, to join them because he knew that Morocco's land is on a waterway and that Prussia wanted it for their own benefits. Ending the reinsurance treaty was a good decision because he didn't want Russia signing with Paris because that would mean two countries would attack Prussia instead of one. Kaiser Wilhelm II was proclaimed King of the Palace of Versailles, which was the same palace Louis XIV held reign. The former German Emperor proclaimed that France and the French were together. Later on, Kaiser attacked them because France was trying to gain power in all of Europe, but Kaiser didn't allow them to do it by threatening them. The final influencer we're going to talk about is Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky was able to maintain a major role in society because of what he has done for his country Russia, who he attacked or admired, and what decisions he made in order for his country to be improved or to have more success. People could learn from Trotsky because of what he had done to his country and that the actions were worth it. Leon Trotsky was a Russian Marxist who was enemies with Joseph Stalin during his years in power, because Stalin didn't like the idea that Trotsky didn't support Stalinism. Trotsky was able to establish Trotskyism, which was the political and economic principles related to how socialism should not take over the world. Leon Trotsky worked with a member of the Constituent Assembly, V.I. Lenin. By working with Lenin, they were able to establish a central committee, which is a party that contained people that had communist parties or that supported communism. As the years went on, Stalin and Trotsky were fighting each other's ideas, and it led to the point where Stalin killed Trotsky by sending one of his workers to his house. Trotsky was able to come out on top for a lot of reasons, due to his cynical thinking and meticulous decisions, by joining people that are known to be well-liked and to have a lot of power. Some of the accomplishments Trotsky was able to do was creating the Central Committee, teaming up with V.I. Lenin, being able to gain control of the Petrograd Soviet, having the ability to organize groups against the government and by attacking the government due to not having safe working conditions. Leon Trotsky was probably one of the most powerful people in Russia due to all of the amazing things he had done for his country, and that had affected Russia in a positive way. Lenin was the most proud of Trotsky because he stated that he is able to get work done and by making the people proud by leading the country in the right direction. Leon Trotsky was able to lead his party and achieve his greatest impacts in the areas where he is the most strong in. His greatest areas of impact are ideas, politics, and government, because he is able to show how parties should be led and what rules his country needs in order to be successful and not suffer any consequences due to the lack of rules. Trotsky was able to lead parties such as the Bolsheviks by being able to lead them to victory due to his attacks on the government for better working rights. This shows that Trotsky cared for his party and that he will stand up for whatever is right in order for his party to be pleased. He also protested for free individual expression by protesting at the Palace of St. Petersburg because he wants his party to get as much say whenever they are faced with not having equal pay. By doing this, the party will have an easier time making decisions based because his party members are now being included in the situations that they're facing throughout Europe. I believe that Leon Trotsky shaped history in many ways because he was able to carry his country on his shoulders during the years that he was reigning. Trotsky improved Russia by forming alternate parties, standing up for his party's rights, looking out for his people, and teaming with people that have power as well. Trotsky was able to shut Stalin down by establishing Trotskyism. This made Stalin upset because he didn't like the fact that someone was standing up against him. He was one of the first people to stand up to Stalin, and this shows that people are not going to be afraid of him, no matter how many people he kills or tortures. Trotsky was able to shape history because he was able to lead his country, being able to form parties, standing up for his rights, looking out for his people, and teaming up with other people that also have high power. Those are 3 influencers that we covered today, and I hope you have learned something new about the people that shaped Europe in many ways. Stay tuned for the next podcast where we cover how Louis XIV claimed his power to the throne. That's it. Signing off. here in Chahal.